took just 106 days for Chelsea to say no to the yes man, Leon Rosenior, who was fired as manager, for this perception from the outset that he's had an opportunity his resume didn't suggest he was ready for, based on his relationships with owners, thriving at the Blue Club multi-club ownership of Strasbourg, and his understanding of their unique operation methodical, qualified him for a crack at one of the biggest jobs in world football, or at least the hierarchy believed. The problem was no one else did. Scepticism within the fan base grew over time, whilst the utterly insipid nature of Tuesday's 300 feet at Brighton strongly suggests the players never really stood with him at the helm. After succeeding Enzo Maresca in January, Rosenior lost 10 of his 23 games in charge and lost 5 consecutive Prem games for the first time since 1993. They just lost in 5 in a row without scoring for the first time since 1912. Sitting 8th in the table, Chelsea now face the prospect of missing out on European qualification, pretty much reliant on their FA Cup campaign. Multiple sources know Rosenior describe him as an honest, decent, hard-working man, viewed through the prism of a general lack of opportunities afforded to British managers and ethnic minority candidates at the top of the game. His arrival at Stamford Bridge was widely greeted with warmness, but shown through the coaching experience possessed by many of his predecessors, an interim period at Derby, 18-month spells at Hull and Strasbourg, extra emphasis was placed on his words, and Rosenior didn't always help himself with the man age clip, etc., etc. Disparaging means circulated on social media, but Rosenior took a disarming approach in his first few public appearances. However, it only seemed to highlight the jump he was making, and in an attempt to compensate, perhaps Rosenior's tone in the first few weeks focused on university, defending his players, and talking out possibilities, but perhaps in his willingness to be open and transparent communicator, he often became immersed in trivial issues that delighted his view of authority. After losing to Arsenal in the second leg of their Carabao Cup semi-final, we spoke of the Gunners showing a lack of respect during the warm-ups. Chelsea became embroiled in a farcical row over their pre-match huddles, including that one with Paul Tierney. This was, the idea was not Rosenior's. In fact, it was coming down to another staff member in agreement with the players to respect the ball. The sight of Rosenior making notes on touch while only 8-2 down against PSG was ridiculed by some fans. He was constantly fighting a battle to be taken seriously, but it's debatable why Chelsea dressing room ever stood behind him. Rosenior won 7 of his first 9 matches, including a comeback win against Napoli, securing their place in the Champions League round of 16. The 2 defeats came against Arsenal in their 2-legged Carabao Cup semi-final, the second of which Rosenior adopted a cautious approach that sources said led to players question his ambition, and that only grew over time. With that 1-1 draw against Burnley. There was surprise that Rosenior adopted a halfway house. Either don't mention the issue or identify a problem quickly. Team news began leaking. Information relating to Chelsea's team for the knockout match against PSG emerged, and they were obviously handsomely beaten. And then obviously you had the issues with Enzo Fernandez, etc., etc. Although Cucurella suggested Rosenior is a very good person and has been great handling the great public doubt cast over Maresca's exit and Bruco's policy of signing young players. He fined Fernandez, banning him for 2 games, including a match against Man City, which questioned internally about whether Fernandez should be restored to the team. There was issues between Rosenior's backroom staff and certain players. Fofana shrugged off assistant coach Justin Walker, who joined Chelsea with Rosenior in January, trying to console the defender after a loss to Manchester United. Discipline has become an issue on the pitch, with Chelsea picking up 9 red cards this season, more than any other team. With Rosenior calling it unacceptable. Chelsea had hoped Rosenior would lead the team into next season despite the recent downturn, but the breakdown in relations between everyone effectively forced their hands. Some top young players and sign them on long contracts, creating an environment where they grow together and conquer the world. Chelsea have done the last bit first. It's easy to forget that we're talking about the World Club Cup champions under Maresca. They were Conference League winners, qualified for the Champions League and World Champions, but Maresca wanted greater influence in team affairs, and that's where Blue Co Motto became stuck. 5 sporting directors sit below co-owner Ed Barley and the head coach, who receive technical feedback after every game, and empowered medical department together with data analysis beefed up following Blue Co arrival with just head coach, one voice of many. Maresca's arrival in the role following his spells at Man City and Leicester accepted the limited scope of the Chelsea head coach role, but friction grew internally more and more. His consequently left as a result of breakdown in relations, and it's a difficult decision to replace Rosenior, who they believe conducts himself with professionalism without, but they denied there was any breakdown in relationships. Instead, results and performances just hadn't met the expectations, and Rosenior didn't have as big a payoff as was written. And so Chelsea's owners have begun their latest search for a permanent manager, and they're obviously doing choices: Iraola, Silva, Fabregas. But the Blue Co model is going to be very tough for someone to work for. One intended consequences of signing players to such long-term contracts is it places more vulnerability over the head coach position because they can't really get their own team in. Perhaps then there similarly needs to be a tweak as a head coach role for Chelsea to truly thrive in the future.
Anyway guys, that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily football news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.